What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast on Tuesday at 4 p.m. How's everybody doing? It is a weird week because it's a short one, right? Tomorrow's Friday, Wednesday for those of us in the United States. And so we are going crazy. We are really busy and things are nuts. We're making a lot of pickups and we're shipping a lot of stuff. I should tell you that we have some Black Friday stuff going all week. And right now, I think it's 10% off basic almost everything on the website. And then free shipping over $250. So that's pretty cool. Bunch of people have been taking advantage of that. So that's happening right now. Also, you can go to DylanTalksTone.com and submit your rig, and we are going to take those photos and probably give stuff away. That's the way that's going to work. What else do we got going around here? That is pretty much it. For kind of housekeeping stuff, please do me a favor and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell and do all that stuff. You can go to Dylan Talks Tone right here and check out the Black Friday sale. That you just scan that with your phone if you're watching this on TV or whatever. Or there's a link in the description, whatever. So, let me tell you where my brain is on this deal. What we're going to talk about today. First of all, I'm dying. I got a migraine. So I don't know how long we're going to go today. So if you have a bunch of questions about guitar stuff, get them in and we'll try to answer them too. I don't have a whole lot. Just some thoughts on some stuff that came up in the last couple of days. And so, yeah, if you guys want to ask some questions, I'll go as long as you want to go, but I also don't have a whole lot myself. So, yeah, just struggling with weather coming in and stuff. For those of you that don't know, I got a really bad spinal injury. So weather really affects me. We had some storms roll through this afternoon and whew, man, I tell you what. So, yesterday's video is interesting. We did this video about, the difference between a Strat pickup and a Tele pickup, which is really fun. I like that stuff, right? I like learning the history behind various things and why stuff was the way it was. And what's interesting is what I'm just going to tell you, it's an interesting to navigate. It's an interesting thing to navigate as a person who tries to share, knowledge about guitar stuff, passion about guitar stuff on the internet every week, right? The difficulty is trying to figure out what people play guitar for. Why are they interested in this stuff? In my mind, most of it, probably 70-30. is just because it's fun, right? I just like guitar stuff. I just think it's neat. I just think his stuff is neat. That's all everything is like that for me. But then there's also like the technical side. So, stuff is neat. Then you start to go, oh, wait a minute. Well, that's really neat. Well, I want to learn about that. So then the next thing you know, you're into, I don't know, the dielectric coefficient of ceramic. You know what I mean? Like you go way off the rails and super nerdy. And so it's weird because we make a video that's really, really technical about super nerdy stuff, right? And people really like it because it's fun. It's fun to learn that stuff. And it's fun to know how stuff works and why stuff works. But then there's also the contingent of people who are like, let me say this. So the reason we need to make those videos is because for many years, people have been driven by emotion and they believe a thing about guitar stuff based on emotion, right? So why a Telecaster sounds different than a Stratocaster? Oh, it must be the plastic pick guard and the way the pickups are mounted. It must be the whatever stuff is always made up and then, proliferated on the internet, usually based around some kind of emotion, almost a religious fervor, if you will, for what people believe about how guitar stuff works. And the interesting thing is, I don't care. That's no problem. I don't have a problem with that because people are driven by passion to enjoy their stuff. That's really cool. And that's really important. So what is this balance between knowing how stuff actually works and being nerdy about it, but not taking away from the fact that this is art, man? Like and I steal this from John Mayer because he said it during a guitar launch, but this is technically called playing guitar. We are playing, we are having fun, right? And so the guy who gets in the comments, and this is not anybody in particular, but just kind of a to get into the thought process. You know, the guy who gets in the comments who says, "Yeah, but you don't know a fact that I know, or you have you missed a detail that I know that you shouldn't have missed," just sucking the fun out of it, just to be technical, right? Um, which is, and that's okay. That person, I'm glad that they know that. That's really neat. I learned some stuff last week from a video, somebody who brought out some things. About where Kunifé comes from. I had no idea, and I went and did a bunch of research on it. They used to use it in speedometers, which is pretty neat. And of course, you go to a solid state speedometer and you don't need it anymore, so they stopped making the magnets. That's one of the reasons why those pickups went away, because, you know, we are all third-party users of technology, really, when it comes down to it, because, yeah. So I need to tell the fam that I'm doing the podcast because they are texting me and blowing up my phone. So yeah, it's just an interesting mix, right? And I'll tell you another place where it has changed and maybe even made it more difficult for me to choose stuff. So I'll tell you right now, you know, it's Black Friday week, obviously. So you're looking around for guitar deals and stuff because that's what we all do, right? And I was like, what do I need right now? I really want an SG, right? I keep saying that. Well, I could just go buy an SG. They're always there. And they don't really go on sale. We can get those anytime. No big deal. I'll probably get one at some point. No big deal. And, but what I don't have around here is a good double action tremolo guitar, a Floyd Rose style thing. And I don't have one, you know, and though that's a source for a great video, right? And it's a source for great a lot of things. Like I should have one around. I just don't have one. I had a Kramer. It was okay. I didn't really play it that much. I'm kind of leaning towards buying one of those EVH things. I really think those are neat because I've been on this whole Wolfgang kick lately too, listening to Mammoth a bunch and stuff. And so as I'm shopping for guitars, I'm starting to realize that when you shop passionately, instead of, or at least for me, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but when you shop passionately instead of technically, it's more fun, but it's harder. Okay. That's kind of the way somebody asked me because we had our Zoom hangout, like our member hangout last night on Zoom. And somebody asked me like, hey, are you going to buy yourself a pocket knife, you know, a new pocket knife, this, you know, splurge on something cool this Black Friday week. And I'm like, man, I might. I've been looking, but I've got so much neat stuff that now I'm kind of, I don't care about knife steel. I don't care about the technical design. It's just got to jump out and grab me. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, because I've got some pretty neat stuff already. I don't need like 5 of one thing. I don't need, you know what I mean? I want something to jump out and grab me. And it's the same thing with the guitar thing. So I'm shopping through all these Floyd Rose guitars last night, and I'm like on Sweetwater and on Zounds and on, you know, I just looking around the internet really. And I'm like, nothing's jumping out at me. I don't have the passion for it. Now I could spec chase and I could say, well, for the money, there's all the for the money guys, right? So like if I want to spend, I'll tell you right now, I want to keep it under $1,000. So I'm going to buy some sort of import thing. Probably it'll probably be some, you know, like made in Indonesia, something with a probably Floyd 1000. I'm going to upgrade it and stuff as part of a video. So it's not important, right? So the spec chasing guys will spec chase themselves into a corner where they feel that they've built the most value per dollar and then forgotten the fun. Well, I got this one. It's an ugly color, but it's okay. and it's got this kind of crappy tremolo on it. I could probably upgrade that, but for the money, it's the best guitar per specs. Which one is better for the money? Like that kind of stuff. I don't do that. If it's cool, it's cool. If it's not, it's not. I don't want it. You know what I mean? But it also makes it harder because it's actually easier to spec chase and buy something. Because then all you have to do, literally all you have to do is go, okay, Sweetwater filter. I want this fret size. I want this neck profile. I want these many pickups. I want this, 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 and this, and this, and this. And I don't want to spend more than $400. Boom. There it is. Whatever it is. And then you just compromise to hit the money, and you have the specs that you compromised because you didn't spend more at $400, but that's okay. You got a guitar. That just takes the fun out of it for me. I'm like, well, that one's green and that one's purple. Which one do I want? I don't know. Do I want a maple fretboard or do I want a rosewood fretboard? Well, I usually want a rosewood fretboard, but that one actually has a roasted maple fretboard, which I really kind of like. I don't know. Those pickups are kind of ugly, but I can change those. You know, like going just for the pure desire of it almost makes it harder than spec chasing, which is really interesting. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. I did the bridge tone mod on my Strat, and now I don't have a neck volume without the tone being turned up. Did the bridge tone mod on my Strat, and now Yeah, something's wired wrong because it shouldn't change anything, but just add that one feature. Well, green, duh. Yeah, so that's the thing. So we usually get purple, pink, or green around here. I'm working on an Esquire project. Thinking about mounting one of your pickups. Which one do you recommend? Flat 6 all the way for that. That's what I would do. I play to relax, have fun, and learn some new music. Same. I can't stay, but here's a thought that you provoked. I think tech allows us to share art, low tech like brush and paint, or high tech like AI to create a symphony, or adding a new riff to Gloria. Yeah, I get that. When I build a guitar, I think of the artistic appearance. The technical part is in there, but appearance trumps it. Yeah, and that's an interesting thing about guitar too, is if you don't overthink it, they all kind of function about the same, right? If you don't overthink it, the other thing you can do is you can spec chase yourself into a corner of always saying, well, I can never play, I've got guitars with, I don't know, I can't even tell you how many different neck profiles I have around here. I don't care, right? Like they're all better than me. So it doesn't really matter. And I would rather just learn how to play a different neck profile than shut that neck profile out of my life and then all of a sudden be able to shut this entire section. So here, do this. Be very, very picky. Be like, well, I only like this neck profile. I only like this pickup. I only like this. And the thousands of guitars that are available on Sweetwater all of a sudden come down to 10 because you just like shut yourself out of all of those things. So I would rather just learn how to do different stuff and have all the options. That's personally how I do it, but and I'm not awesome at it. It doesn't matter, And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're good at it. Just do it anyway. It's just cool. I'm looking at the PRS SE NF53. I am thinking about buying one of those too. Yeah, the only reason I have not pulled the trigger on it is because I don't really care about it that much. Like it's not a guitar. Again, this is not a guitar that draws me. It's not a guitar that okay. When it comes to, it's not a guitar that I would buy for myself. So remember when we talk about this, I have a little different situation because I have like two different departments, right? So I have like for work and YouTube and videos and testing for pickups and stuff, right? And then I have my personal collection over here that I buy just for me because I'm going to keep it forever no matter what happens with the YouTube channel and the business, right? These are just mine. So it's not going to be in the mind category because I'm not drawn to it. It's just not it's okay. So then do I buy it for work? Okay, I could buy it for work, but here's the problem. I'm not going to make those pickups. I'm not going to, because they're weird. It'd be very difficult. It would take a whole bunch of tooling and stuff. I've looked into it enough to know that I'm not going to make aftermarket versions of those NF53 pickups. I feel like the guitar has been done to death on the internet. I feel like I could say some things about it if it's good. I'm sure it's good. That might open people's eyes up to it who otherwise thought it was stupid, because we have a tendency to do that around here. Most people, though, are just going to be like, nah, that guitar's whatever it is. They already made up their mind about it. I don't have any reason to make anybody's mind up about anything because it's not what I do. And I don't have any reason to build parts for it. So I don't really have a reason to own it. Otherwise, I would. I'm curious about it, but I'm curious enough to borrow it from a friend for a weekend, not curious enough to buy it. And even if we did buy it, a lot of times I'll buy stuff that I'm not interested in. We make a project out of it. But like I said, there's not a whole lot I can do with that guitar. So it's neat though. I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's a cool guitar. It's just not. I like everything, right? So like you'll hear people, well, Dylan says he hates classic rock. He says he hates whatever. No, I don't hate anything. I like everything, actually. I like everything. It doesn't hit me enough to, doing podcast. I'll call you back in like 45 minutes. Okay, bye. That was Chris Fesker from Texas Toast Guitars. We've been trying to get together on something for the last few days, and he called me on it. Okay, do you recommend a 250K or 500K pots for your wide range humbuckers? 500. Full show. Still planning on buying a loaded pickguard from you, but had to get a new computer and a fridge. Oh, geez, that sucks. Yeah, I get that kind of stuff. The NF stuff is really neat, almost like PRS is doing what Leo did with the GNL, changing up how the electric guitar pickup tech. Yeah, it's just, and it's really not the technology. Technology's not really changed. It's just the pickup dimensions are so, and this is what's neat about it, Chris, and I agree. We tend to fit everything. So remember this, okay? And this is what makes it neat, and maybe this is why I should get one. So the thing is that the shape of the coil versus the magnet, that relationship is everything about how a guitar sounds. About how a pickup sounds, especially. And so he basically threw all conventions out the window. So here's the interesting part is that you and I, we see a P90, we see a Strat pickup, we see a Telecaster pickup, we see a humbucker, and we already have not a preconceived idea, but like we kind of know what they sound like. And then there will be variations within that, right? And it'll, honestly, the frequency response moves around a little bit, but it's basically, we know what a humbucker sounds like. Well, that guitar is different because the entire coil dimensions and everything, it's not that the technology is different. It's just, it's a completely unconventional coil shape and magnet relationship and everything. And so what does it sound like? Because it's not normal, which makes it neat. And I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's very cool. I'm actually considering, in fact, do you have anything you'd recommend for the active preamp? JTG MK1 has an active pre. For electric guitar, I don't know. For bass, we have used the, shoot, I can't think of the name of it. But no, I do not have. Would you switch my order to the 500s or is it too late? I don't know who you are because I don't know what your YouTube name is. Do me a favor. Don't do it here. Keep your anonymity. Just hit me in the chat on the website and tell me. And we will take care of that for you. I'll switch that around. Interesting thing about the GNL MFD is how the metal plates change the magnetic field, which is what I say PRS doing with the NF. Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. So if they've got a steel base plate on them, that's pretty rad. So the MFDs are that way too, right? Basically, it's a copper plated steel base plate like on a Telecaster, sort of like, but underneath a P90 shape coil instead. That's what an MFD basically is. With a big ceramic magnet though, not an alnico magnet. They're really cool. I've got some around here. They're pretty neat. The problem is they don't fit in anything. That's the problem. They don't fit in anything. So what might be neat, I was just now thinking of this. What might be neat is to take an MFD and put it into a P90, right? Like make a P90 that fit like a regular P90, but made it like you make an MFD, which, because they're totally different, completely different. But that would take a lot of work. But that'd be an interesting experiment to do for sure. Started as a Jaguar pickup design and was warped from there. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense a lot, actually. Because the Jag pickup is based on Ibji, I got your message. In fact, you're gonna get a reply from me right now that says I got it. So okay, we will take care of you, no problem. And there you go. Cool. Took care of you. Thanks for opening up last night's Zoom meeting to all members. I was able to join for a while and it was an interesting conversation. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. It was nice having you there. Yeah, we do that a couple of times a year because we just want to make sure that people know what we do. Sometimes it's really involved and we're really technical and super nerdy and stuff. And sometimes it's like, hey, how's your dog? You know what I mean? Like it's really super chill. We used to have like an agenda to it. That just got dumb. And let me tell you what happens a lot of times with that thing is someone will start it. Basically, whoever's involved in it they can all be on together even before I get there. So sometimes people will show up because I get the notifications on my watch. So sometimes 4 or 5 people will show up early, like 15 minutes early, and they're talking about, I don't know, stuff doesn't even matter. And so they already have shaped the conversation and what we're going to talk about, and it could go all over the place. I usually try to give people on those monthly hangouts, I try to give people a little update, like, this is what's going on. I obviously gave y'all some updates on, I also gave you some updates on some stuff that's coming up that we're not, making public yet. And of course, Patreon and YouTube members have a special code for Black Friday sale already right now. So, that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of neat stuff that we do over there. Super fun. Thinking of a lefty turquoise shell pickguard or a Strat with some sort of humbucker in it, but maybe something off the beaten track a bit. Dude, the move is 2 of our Hot 5 Strat pickups and a Super 8 humbucker in a Strat. That is the move. It is the best combination of anything from cleans to all the way super gnarly. It's super versatile. I'm not the only one that thinks that. You can ask a bunch of people in the comments. There's a bunch of people that have them. Man, that is the move. If I do a single hum Strat, that's what I do every time. It works really, really good. My neck volume issue may also be because I added a treble bleed on a push-pull pot. Yep, that's the problem. You've got a treble bleed on a push-pull means something's grounding and causing it to cut itself out of be open, basically. That's probably it. Yeah, that's what I would do, man. Yeah, that's what I would do. All right, let's see. I'm going to go back through here. Yeah. And it's funny 'cause I just think about, like we're talking about this whole creative versus technical thing. And I think what happens with spec chasing a lot of times, and let me tell you too, let's use this conversation that I just had with, who was it here? Must be that bozo. So must be that bozo. Thank you for asking about the pickups. The majority of conversations that we have in the chat, on the website, customer service stuff are not very technical, which I really appreciate. So, well, how many K is it? Is it gonna blah, 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 blah. Once you start doing that, to be honest with you, I can tell that you're probably not going to be one of my customers. If you start asking all the weird questions, look, I'm looking for a mid bump from 1.5K to 3.2, and then I'd really like it to roll off. You know what? Okay, just go buy yourself a graphic EQ. No matter what you do with your pickups, I'm not going to be able to make you happy. I promise you that. And we make badass pickups, but I'm not going to be able to make you happy because you are not looking for the right things, but I can't tell you that. Most of the conversations that we have are like this. Hey, what should I put in my Strat? Dude, let me tell you, this is what I would do because it's awesome. And they're like, oh, okay. And they get it. And they're like, oh yeah, it's awesome. That's it. That's all that's really required, right? Well, what do you want to do? I really want to do a coil split on the neck, and I want to do this and this and this and that and this and that. I'm like, all right, well, I would use this pickup here and that pickup there because that would probably work really well. Oh, okay. The end. And they get it, and they're like, oh, that's pretty awesome. I've only ever had, I think in, 12 years we've been doing this, I've honestly never had, knock on wood, never had anybody want to return a pickup because they didn't like it. We've had, quality control problems and stuff like, oops, it doesn't work. I need to fix it for you, whatever. That stuff happens because, we're human beings and we're not AI or robots. But when it comes to understanding that emotion should drive why you play guitar, even though, so this is an interesting thing. I care about the technical part of it and all the nerdy stuff on the backside so that all you have to worry about is the emotion. That's how I run my business. I want to be super nerdy, and I'll share with you the super nerdy, like that video yesterday. But I want it to be done that way so that when you open up the box, you don't have to be super nerdy because I already was. And you can just know, well, he was super nerdy about this, so I'll put it in and it'll work. Right? And when I slam an E chord, it gives me the fizz, and there we go. We're off and running. That's what I really care about. It does take technical, you got to know the technical stuff to accomplish that. But I also trust other people with that too. When I buy a pocket knife, there's all these people. Well, what's the HRC of the steel? The MagnaCut, because if it's too low, then blah 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 blah. I'm like, what are you doing? Freaking cutting staples with your knife on purpose? Like, what's the geometry of the lock? Because if I bang on it I'm like, what are you doing? Like prying doors open with your pocket knife? Like, I needed to open an Amazon box, and I'm sure that this $300 pocket knife will open an Amazon box, and I think it looks cool. Like, I trust the person that made it. If it works, it probably works. They know about lock geometry and HRC and all that stuff. And if I buy it from a reputable place, they know all that stuff. I like it. I think it's neat, and I would nerd out about it. But is it going to do what I need to? Yeah. Does it look cool? Yeah. Okay. Emotion. I don't even need to care. I don't care what HRC my MagnaCut is. I just don't. I don't care. If I was, if it was a purpose-built thing, if you were hanging off the side of a skyscraper and it was going to save your life and you needed it, but we're not driving our guitars, right? We're not jumping out of an airplane with our guitars. So if this thing is 2K to, whatever, plug it in, play it. If you like it, you like it. Smile, right? Dollars per smile is the ratio you should be looking for. That's what I think. Um, could you do a Jazzmaster loaded pickguard with the dual circuits? No. No, because it's very difficult to procure those parts. And it becomes very expensive very quickly because it's not just the wiring and stuff. It's the parts are really hard to get for those at any kind of level. I'm an artist, but I was raised by a millwright and went to a technical school, so I kind of straddle both worlds a bit. Me too, for sure, because I'm an engineer by trade. That's exactly. And I'm way nerdy about everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, when I buy a pocket knife or a guitar or a whatever, I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm literally like, wow, how did they machine that? I wonder what the tooling was like to clamp this. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally going nuts. But I also don't care in the end if it's cool, right? I don't care about any of that if it's cool. Yes, it works. It's awesome, you know? And this is really wild that they actually make these screws in-house. And the Swiss lathe that they use to do this is super cool. And like learning all that stuff's really neat. But in the end, okay, it goes like that. It does that thing. It cuts the thing. I don't have to sharpen it very often. It's awesome. Same thing with a guitar, right? Like if its setup is good and if I can set it up and it's great and it plays, I don't even care. I don't even care what fret size for the most part. I don't like teeny, tiny frets. But here's the other thing about that. I care more about understanding the intention of the builder than whether I can play the guitar or not. Okay. So let's face it. The majority of us all have tools that are way better than us. Okay. So no matter what it is, right? It could be a kitchen knife. It could be a pen. It could be a pencil. It could be a guitar. It could be a piano. It could be a drum. We could buy like the most basic one and it probably is better than us, right? We own things in the guitar hobby that far exceed our level of ability, right? Like my guitar is meant for somebody that's way better than me. No matter which one it is, I have all of them. I don't care. And so I don't really shop for specs because I want to see the intention of the builder, right? So if somebody comes to me and says, oh, for example, I'll give you an example. Paul Reed Smith and Texas Toast Guitars. So Texas Toast Guitars uses a 10-inch radius a lot on their fretboards, which sounds weird because not very many people use it. And I'm like, well, I want one because I want to understand why. And the honest truth is you can't really tell the difference. But if you spec chase, you're like, well, I can only play a 12. No, you can play a 10. You can play a 10. I know you can. If you don't think you can, then that's on you, but I know you can. You know. If not, give me your guitar. I'm going to give it to one of them Korean kids on the internet and they'll show you how. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just play for fun. Buy pickups for fun, buy stuff for fun. That's why we've been having so much fun with all this custom stuff, like all the acrylic pickup covers and all that kind of stuff. Super fun stuff, man. I really, really enjoy it a lot. Because it's creative, because it takes the, you know, we're taking a normal thing, making it more awesome. You know, like a P90. We make the best P90s in the world. I always say that. But now we're making them like cool in a different way. We shipped some Paisley nickel ones today. Oh my gosh, they were pretty. Every time the laser hits that thing and then I look at it, I'm like, dang, that is sick. And that's what I care about, that feeling. If I'm doing that when I'm making it, then I'm hoping that the person that takes it out of the box goes, dang, that is really cool. Right? Like that's what I care about. When I hold one of those black acrylic swirly ones up to the light and I'm like, whoa, that's cool. You need to see that in direct sunlight. That's pretty neat. Like I hope that that's what everybody does. When you buy our stuff and you put it in your guitar, It's going to sound great. That's fine. That's the, well, it doesn't have anything to do with the tone. Yeah, it does. You know why? Because if it's ugly and you don't like it and hangs on the wall, it's not making any. That's why. So, there you go. We need more Korean kids. That's pretty funny. Well, you guys, I know it's a little shorter today, but I am wrecked. I am really, really wrecked. My head is about to kill me, and I cannot feel anything between my shoulder blades, which means it's a pretty bad back day. So I am going to go chill for a little bit before I need to go somewhere and do the next thing. Having decent instruments guilt me into trying harder. That is a really interesting, you know what? I like that because it's not even necessarily guilt. I just say it's motivation in general. When you have a really cool guitar, you're like, I want to be able to use this thing, right? I want to be able to do it. I have it. I want to be able to do it. And that's awesome. That's awesome. The people that say, well, I don't deserve that guitar. I'm not good enough to own one of those. Maybe someday I will be. To me, that is a terrible mental state to be in. Go buy a really rad guitar. And then what will happen is what he just said is you'll go, oh, man, now I want to get better because I have this thing that's awesome and I want to be good. And it'll motivate you to play. It's backwards. It's backwards. Get your daughter to walk on your back. Yeah, titanium doesn't really like that much. You guys, this has been fun. Thanks for hanging out. We will probably see you tomorrow with another video. And then, of course, we will see you later in the week at our live stream on Thursday. And we're doing a special live stream on Friday morning. So if you're not working Friday morning, get up, make a pot of coffee. And I think we'll be on somewhere around 9 a.m. Eastern time. We'll see you later.